Well, Dr. Corsi, Mrs. Corsi, once again, we're live here from the worldwide headquarters of Corsi Nation. It's always a pleasure to be here with you two. How's everything going?
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's great. We're doing fine. It's now, the last time we were together here was the Christmas holidays, and we had a great broadcast. We really enjoyed it. And now it looks like it looks very strongly like the tide is turned in favor of Donald Trump, and I expect that tomorrow the vote will be to acquit him, to essentially dismiss these charges. I don't think there's even going to be any call for witnesses, and so Monica, here we are.
We are another year, and another year together. Welcome to our home, and Happy New Year to everyone. And we're in an election year.
It's going to be exciting. CorsiNationRightNow.com, the website is down. We're redoing it, and it'll be back up very quickly as we can get things going. But I'm even hoping that we get Monica to do some videos this year.
He's trying to convince me for more than a year, so maybe we'll listen. We'll listen.
Well, Monica is quite astute on politics, I think, and having put up with me for now going on, this will be our 29th year.
29th year.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you.
I think we even don't believe it.
It's been a road. It's been a road.
I think living with me has got to be a difficulty, but Monica's
it's great.
Weathered through it.
I'm very blessed to have a husband that is, this dedicated and this much of a patriot. So I have been very blessed with this man. Well,
you're very gracious, Monica. God bless you for saying that. And I think Monica also has Monica is Italian by birth and raised
by blood.
That's right, by blood. Both her father and mother born in Italy, and Monica was born and raised in Argentina. And her Italian and her Spanish, or Spanish, of course, is her first language.
Yes.
And so I'd like to get Monica to do some broadcasts in Spanish this year in Corsi Nation.
Well, I think there is a market, a big market for that, and there are some people that need to be brought up to what's really the truth of things, and not what is being said on the extreme media, which is, as we all know, not accurate most of the time. And so I would like to maybe perhaps focus on that kind of audience and repeat what my husband says, because
it may be good to we're big supporters of legal immigration. Monica and the family is sponsored.
We sponsor quite a few individuals, and I love
coming into the country legally.
And I love when they get legal status. I'm in favor of that. I'm not in favor of chain migration, as President Trump isn't either. But there are individuals that can share their great,
culture,
education and motivation, and they have expertise that they can share through the world. So for those and for many. It would be nice to talk to them.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me when we get called xenophobe and all the rest by the left, because the Spanish is. 30 years ago, when I met Monica, I decided if I was going to marry a woman who spoke a language different than I spoke, it was not a good idea. So I learned Italian much younger, and so as a kid, my grandparents were my father's parents were from Italy. And it was, not impossible to pick up Spanish, to learn Spanish, and now it's in part the second language of our household. I mean, we have.
And also, the Italian. When my mother was alive, a lot was in Italian back then, and then since she unfortunately has been gone, then my kids are all trilingual. The Spanish, the Italian, always we kept it going, and obviously they were born here, so they are natives. But I think language is a great thing, and I am going to try to focus and helping or advising or, on a commentary based program for them.
I think it's important, and also, I mean, I'm feeling we got through Mueller, and of course, this thing with Mueller was just about destroyed. Certainly financially ruining, but it was, emotionally, the idea of I could today be in prison if Mueller had succeeded. And so we're experiencing now that not only did the Russian collusion fail, and I think Mueller's being shown to be in disgrace, this new brief that Sidney Powell has filed in the General Flynn case is very powerful, and we'll discuss that in a full broadcast.
There was an order on that today.
Yes, well, the government offered to accept probation if General Flynn just wouldn't press to get the Flynn wants to be withdrawing the guilty plea, and I think Sidney Powell did a brilliant job. Her brief is compelling, but we're seeing now with Schiff and Nadler failing to make their case in the House and really crashing and burning, that this whole Ukrainian hoax is going to go the same way as the Russian hoax. And so we since feel vindicated, Monica.
Oh, we definitely do. I mean, certainly do. And we're not radioactive anymore, so anyone that wants to get in touch with us, please do.
Well, and we'll be very active with Corsi Nation, but again, we have to stop weaponizing the Department of Justice. I mean, after watching what the Department of Justice did in our case and in the now General Flynn's case, we've got to either kind of shut down the Department of Justice and the FBI and destroy the building and start over again, or let's start moving the federal government out of Washington altogether to get rid of these legacy employees, these SES employees that never leave. I say move the Justice Department to the Death Valley, and let's see how many of these Beltway lawyers and FBI want to go. It's the only way to get rid of them. And if we're going to have weaponized justice, we don't need it. I mean, where is Attorney General Barr and Durham on these indictments? We've waited now for months and months and months, and people are getting very frustrated. But I think we can take a sigh, a breather here that we've got through this and we continue to be winning. Donald Trump's reelection looks increasingly strong. Mm-hmm. And I'm expecting that Elizabeth Warren will be the candidate for the Democrats because she's been Barack Obama's choice, and I think that's where it's going to head.
Now, Dr. Corsi, President Trump had suggested we might reach a point where we would all be sick of winning. Are you tired of it yet?
Monica, are we tired of winning?
Never. Never. We're winners. Never. We'll go to the end.
Fighting, and yes.
You both really have become role models for everyone because you faced, aside from a health concern, this is one of the most serious challenges a family could face.
I always say it to anyone that wants to listen, that, you go through different things in your life, illnesses, different things. And sometimes you say you want to have an illness that you may die, or do you want to have a low situation where you may go to jail? I mean, that's where we were facing, and you can't decide on one. You can't decide, and the other one you can't decide either. I mean, it's just like fate.
Right.
So it's been very, very dramatic.
It was really Monica's decision. I mean, you can remember how you turned the tide.
Yes.
Go ahead and tell the story.
I guess we tire people of saying the same, but when you know who you are and you know how you live by your principles, and we're Catholics, so we believe in God, and we would never lie. And I know my husband would never lie. And when he was pressed down to lie, I said, I'd rather you go to jail and visit you for every day that you're there. God only knows if you or me first goes. But till that moment, I visit you in prison rather than knowing that you signed something you did not do. Okay, so you go to prison for being honest, not for being dishonest.
And you started the conversation by talking about your pride in immigrating to the United States. And I often find that people who have immigrated here take their citizenship more seriously.
Pride. My mother was an educator. She taught languages, as you already know. You know, I speak 3 languages, and she came over with me in 1973, and my brother was here already, and we were raised very strict, very Catholic. I always went to, private school with the nuns, which is a lot to say for those days. And the pride and the honesty is what makes you. It's all you have. Okay, all you have is who you are, and if you have that, people will trust you just by knowing that you never go the wrong way.
Monica's mother, when she was alive, and she lived with us through her until she passed away, and she would always say it was when in 73, when the tanks showed up in the plaza in Argentina, and it was basically
the first round of the military taking over. And I was at that time I was already in a relationship with an American man, which it wasn't Jerry, my first husband, my former husband,
right?
And
who was a good man. I got to meet him. He's a good man.
And I have a wonderful son, which you may have seen through all this Mueller situation or heard about him.
They wanted to put Andrew in jail, too.
No, please.
Well, they sure came after him.
Don't even go there. Okay, so...
They were really trying to work on you, though. I mean, this is an interesting point that... sorry, Dr. Corsi. Something, again, is wrong with our simulcast on the Corsi Nation YouTube channel. I don't know why it's not playing there, but if people are waiting for us on the Jerome Corsi YouTube channel...
It's just not playing.
I don't know why. We'll check it afterwards. I didn't mean to interrupt what you were saying because it was very important.
Right. So... We were...
the whole thing was, I mean, the pressure we faced was tremendous, and
deliberate,
and deliberate, and they came after Andrew because Andrew had taken a computer I had and put it back to factory so Monica could use it in her business.
But isn't it true, Dr. Corsi, he really was coming after
Yes, he was coming after Monica.
Psychologically.
Pressuring Monica so I would
Well, it was putting my husband against, it was making me decide between my son and my husband.
Right.
And that is a very, very difficult thing for anyone to take.
Well, the fundamental thing is I did not commit the crime. I did not lie, and I even amended testimony. I forgot a few emails. So, and I think what Rudy Giuliani has said, and what when the president and his team saw the statement of offense that the Department of Justice wanted me to plead to, they were correct. The Department of Justice was suborning perjury. They wanted me to admit to a crime I didn't commit in order to help them make their case a collusion. And I think we're seeing the same thing now in General Flynn's case. And I think it's extremely important that Sidney Powell get the guilty plea dismissed.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I think Sidney Powell is a brilliant attorney. And the brief that she put together, I've reached out to Sidney Powell and given her encouragement and help to the extent I can. I'm not a lawyer, but I've helped in terms of, the basic encouragement to fight these people. Because I think what we're going to see exposed, I've said we're now engaging 3 phases. First, Mueller would fail. Now we're in a counterattack, and Trump is beginning the counterattack. He's going to advance that counterattack tomorrow when I believe he's acquitted in this trial in the Senate, and I think it'll go through until the end of the year when the American people realize this was a coup d'etat, and it was the left's coup d'etat. They talk about Argentina, and it was the leftist Peronists who really had destroyed that country. We're fighting hard to make sure that we don't have the United States go communist or socialist, which is where the Democrats are today. I'm afraid they've become a Democratic Socialist Party.
They don't even hide it. They're basically shaming people who don't support socialism.
Well, I believe that all the young generation, the millenniums or younger than that they are going to school and they don't understand. And again, I have not lived through, any communism. Argentina was not a communist. It's not yet, quote unquote, a communist country. But I can tell you that what happened in Argentina after we left, not said by me, but history says it, and also I have family back there. It was very, very, very difficult, and the young people are starting to see it. They don't want it. It was really terrorism.
Economic terrorism, for sure.
Well,
right? The economy
but
collapsed.
also personal. They would kidnap people. They would torture.
Wow.
They would kidnap the babies that they took all over the world, and they would kill the mothers. They will kill the mothers and take the children. I mean, this is a fact. This is what went on in Argentina after we left.
The left is totalitarian. The left is really...
And they would attack, the schools and definitely the universities. They would come in and just kill. Bombs, through all over. La Plata, which is the capital of Buenos Aires state, is a university city, still is. A lot of people from all over South America go study there. Well, that was the focus of the violence, Buenos Aires and La Plata. And, we left La Plata, and we left it, knowing that perhaps this was coming.
And how do you feel to see AOC promoting socialism?
Oh, God. I mean, where does she come from?
The Bronx, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, did she ever live in this? I mean, why don't we make an example of 15 days of it and see how everybody feels?
Right. I don't think they'd like it very much. And the other thing I wanted to ask you is, as an immigrant who is so proud to become an American, how did you feel when Dr. Corsi was being questioned by Ari Melber and all these people on the news?
Look, I do appreciate people giving us, definitely my husband, the opportunity to speak out, because it was a channel for everybody to see what was going on here. I respect, Artie. I respect him in a way of how he presented
he allowed me to say what I wanted
and
to
allowed him to speak out.
Yeah.
But he started by saying Robert Mueller doesn't leak. It was like, wait a minute.
Well, I mean,
he has his ways, okay? He's very smart. He has his ways.
I tried not to let them get too much leeway. I would
Right.
always correct them on those things if I could on the shows. And Monica came with me on a lot of those.
I watch every show. I was sitting right behind him, watching his back, wondering if anyone would try to harm him, would have to harm me first.
Well, it was also a great experience for Monica to see and go through.
And I'm not talking about the host. I'm talking about the people outside, on the streets. You never know,
You're right.
So not that I'm a bodyguard, but I have my ways.
The whole experience of going through this changes you. I mean, we've come out of it very differently, and you have a very different perspective. And as long as we continue weaponizing politics, you can't have a discourse. The left is Antifa. They're confrontational. They are not interested in a debate. Even with Schiff and Nadler today, and they call this the House managers. Well, these are all Democrats. This is a Democratic argument against President Trump, and they keep going back to their original story that there was this quid pro quo and things that are not in the articles of impeachment. They're still arguing on the Senate floor.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that.
Yeah,
we're going to get into that in much more detail, Dr. Corsi, when we begin
Yes.
our sponsor-exclusive broadcast just 10 minutes from now on patreon.com/Jerome Corsi patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, and we're both on Subscribestar now
Yes.
as well, so people can join us there.
Yes.
I want to thank you so much for joining us again today, Mrs. Corsi, and
Thank you.
having me create this huge mess in your house as I always do.
No, it's never a problem. You're always welcome.
Thank you
and
so
we
much.
appreciate all you do.
Thank you very much.
You're really a great person. Thank you.
Thank you. It's very kind of you to say. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. I want to thank all the generous Patreon and Subscribestar sponsors. There's our camera over there. We'll see everybody in 10 minutes. Tune in to Patreon and Subscribestar. Thanks very much.